Imagine walking into a room and meeting a man who says, "Hello, I am going to explain the entire universe using nothing but numbers." You would probably back away slowly, keep one hand on your phone, and make a mental note to tell your friends about the number cult you almost joined. But here is the twist. That man is Pythagoras, and he is not trying to scam you into buying a weird pyramid-shaped blender. He is, in fact, about to blow your mind. Yes, the same Pythagoras you know from the triangle formula that haunted your teenage dreams was not just a math teacher. He was a philosopher, a mystic, and possibly the first recorded example of someone trying to explain reality using a unified theory of everything. Except instead of a whiteboard filled with quantum equations, he just had numbers, music, and a strange obsession with beans. Yes, beans. More on that later. Now here's the first thing to understand. Pythagoras believed numbers were not just a way to count things like sheep, pizzas, or how many minutes late your friend is. He believed numbers were the building blocks of reality itself. To him, numbers were not human inventions, they were divine truths, cosmic laws written into the fabric of the universe. Think of it like this. If the universe were a video game, numbers would be the source code. And Pythagoras was one of the first people to peek behind the graphics and go, "Oh, I see how this works." This is already sounding cooler than high school math class, right? Let us start with his obsession with the number 1. For Pythagoras, 1 was the origin, the source, the unity of all things. Everything begins with 1. Without 1, you cannot have 2, 3, or a billion. It is the ultimate VIP number. It is like that one friend who introduces you to everyone else at the party. Then comes 2, which to Pythagoras symbolized duality. Light and dark, male and female, up and down, pineapple on pizza, and people who are wrong about pineapple on pizza. 2 is the tension in the universe, the dance between opposites. Then 3 represented harmony, the resolution of that tension, and 4 symbolized stability, like the 4 legs of a table. And if you think this is just some cute symbolic nonsense, remember that these patterns actually show up in nature, art, and even science. The man was onto something. Now, Pythagoras' obsession with numbers was not limited to shapes and geometry. He also connected numbers to music. And this is where things get juicy. Because if you have ever felt chills when hearing a certain song, you have basically experienced a Pythagorean truth bomb. He discovered that musical harmony is nothing more than mathematics in sound form. He found that strings of different lengths, when plucked, produce notes that are mathematically related. For example, if one string is half the length of another, it produces a note exactly 1 octave higher. That means your favorite emotional movie soundtrack is essentially just math making your brain cry. This connection between numbers and sound made Pythagoras believe that the entire universe is music, which he called the music of the spheres. He imagined the planets and stars moving through space and creating a kind of cosmic symphony that we cannot hear because it is always playing, like background music in a shop. The only difference is that instead of trying to sell you scented candles, this music is organizing the laws of physics. If that still sounds too mystical, modern science kind of agrees with him. The idea that vibrations and frequencies are at the root of everything is echoed in quantum physics, where particles behave like tiny vibrating strings. Even Einstein said that everything in life is vibration. So Pythagoras might have been 2,000 years ahead of the game, wearing a toga instead of a lab coat. But Pythagoras was not just about abstract cosmic patterns. His ideas also had practical applications. He believed that understanding numbers could help you live in harmony with the universe. And while you might not use the Pythagorean theorem to calculate the diagonal of your couch before buying it, you might be using his philosophy without even realizing it. For example, think about the rule of thirds in photography. That is basically a Pythagorean idea about balance and proportion. The same goes for the golden ratio, which is this magical number found in seashells galaxies and your Instagram feed's most aesthetic posts. Architects, artists, and even app designers use it because our brains find it naturally pleasing. Here's another everyday example. Ever been to a concert or a rave where the beat just seems to take over your body? That is rhythm, which is just math that you can dance to. Pythagoras would have loved EDM. He would have been in the crowd with glow sticks, yelling about prime numbers. Of course, not everything about Pythagoras was sunshine and symphonies. The man also ran a kind of secret philosophical school that some people have compared to a cult. His followers had to obey strict rules. They could not eat beans, they had to wear certain clothes, they had to maintain total silence for years before being allowed to speak. And if you are wondering why beans were banned, there are theories. Some say it was because beans cause flatulence, which is apparently unphilosophical. Others say he believed beans contained the souls of the dead. Either way, if your takeaway from this video is do not eat beans, you are missing the point. But it will make dinner parties more interesting. The real point is that Pythagoras' obsession with numbers was about finding patterns that could reveal deeper truths about the world. And we can actually apply that mindset today. Look for recurring numbers in your life. No, not in a lottery ticket obsessive way, but in a what patterns are shaping my reality way. Maybe you notice certain events happen at the same time each month, or your mood cycles in a predictable pattern. Tracking and understanding those patterns can help you make better decisions. That is Pythagoras level thinking. Another application is to pay attention to ratios. When you design something, cook something, or even organize your schedule, think about proportions. Are you spending all your time on work and none on rest? That is a bad ratio. Balance the numbers and you balance your life. It is like turning your week into a pleasing piece of music. You can even apply Pythagoras' ideas to personal growth. He believed the soul could be purified through knowledge, self-discipline, and yes, mathematics. While you might not meditate on the square root of 2, you can still use numbers as tools for mindfulness. Track your habits, count your steps, measure your progress. Numbers give you objective feedback, and that feedback helps you align with your goals. And then there is the wildest part. Modern science is finding patterns in the universe that Pythagoras would have loved. The Fibonacci sequence, for instance, shows up in sunflower seeds, hurricanes, and the spiral of your DNA. Prime numbers are used in computer encryption, which means that the safety of your bank account literally depends on the same mathematical mysteries Pythagoras was pondering while walking around ancient Greece in sandals. Even chaos theory, which studies complex systems that seem random but have hidden order, echoes his belief that numbers are the underlying structure of reality. So, yes, your high school teacher was wrong. Pythagoras was not just that guy who came up with the triangle thing. He was one of the first to suggest that if you really want to understand the world, you have to understand the language it is written in, and that language is numbers. It is the difference between looking at a painting and understanding the chemistry of the pigments. Both are beautiful, but one reveals a whole new layer of meaning. Here is the takeaway. Pythagoras' life work was essentially telling us the universe is not random. It is a song. Learn the notes, and you can play along. And even if you are not planning to join a philosophical bean-free cult, you can still use his insights. Start noticing patterns. Look for ratios. Listen for harmony, not just in music, but in your relationships, your schedule, and your choices. When things feel chaotic, remember there might be a mathematical rhythm you have not tuned into yet. So the next time someone says, "I am not a numbers person," just smile and say, that is like saying, "I am not a universe person." Because whether you love them or hate them, numbers are not going anywhere. They are woven into every sunrise, every heartbeat, every Netflix algorithm deciding you need to watch more documentaries about cats. And that is the magic of Pythagoras. He turned numbers from boring classroom torture devices into keys for unlocking the hidden patterns of existence. So maybe, just maybe, your math homework was secretly a spiritual exercise. Or maybe it was just homework. Either way, the numbers are still out there, singing their silent song, waiting for you to listen. If you enjoyed this ride through ancient triangles, cosmic music, and the mysterious connection between your playlist and the fabric of reality, drop a comment below and tell us your favorite number and why. And do not say 69 unless you have a very good reason. Hit the subscribe button for more fast, funny, and genius-level content delivered at the speed of laughter. This has been XQ Quick Funny Explanations, where we turn deep thoughts into deep laughs. See you next time, and remember, everything adds up in the end.